Greg, yeah. Got it.
Okay, we do just have barely a quorum, but yes, we do
Okay.
have
A quorum nonetheless. We meet today on settled indigenous land, which is the traditional territory of the Chinookan peoples of the Wasco, Rish-Rum, Warm Springs, and Grand Ronde tribes. Let us honor this land and its traditional native stewards, past, present, and future, and strive today to embody a commitment to cultural equity and reconciliation, ecological conservation, and sustainability. In this spirit, I call this meeting to order at 4:01 p.m. There are two small amendments to the agenda.
Oh, we're going to wait on that.
Wrong, that's the next one.
Very
Not this
good.
agenda.
Exactly. There's no amendments to this
Got
agenda.
no amendments. Roll call.
I'm just,
Go ahead, Tia.
Were you saying something, Patty?
go for it.
Okay. Laura Dunn, Chair.
Here.
Letty Moretti, Vice Chair. Daryl Roberts, Secretary. Megan Larrabee. Here. Greg Pack.
Here.
Jeff Helfrich. And Megan Rainey.
Here.
All right.
I'm just going to give a brief overview before public comment since there's no one in the room, and then we'll slow time down so we can
Allow people to arrive. Okay.
allow people to arrive should they want to. So the budget, you've seen the supplemental budget. We've included now the dollar amount from ODOT into this year's budget. We're including about 100 of the 500,000. Well, it's actually 520 with 20,000 being the contingency for gasoline. We are spending 160, or estimating we'll spend about 160,000 before the 1st of July. The majority, the bulk of that will go to making sure that we have the capital to run the service. We do have the buses in place, and now they're getting outfitted, and it's the outfitting of the air conditioner and whatever else that is included in that. In addition, we are expect to see about 67,000 for the Gorge to Mountain, and a decrease in federal assistance due to the delay in vehicle deliveries. We anticipate an increase in federal CARES Act funds. We're thinking somewhere between 100 and 160 for this year, and hopefully somewhere between 300 and 400,000 next year. That will be the last of the CARES Act funds. So those are one-time only funds. They are largely just to help us with the wage increases that we saw this year. And include the CARES Act will address preventative maintenance, insurance. We also saw increases in marketing this year that we hadn't anticipated. Some increases in the contract that we signed with MCED and Link for their delivery of the Hood River to the Dalles services. The delay, the reduction in capital expenditures. We've left some money in there for some of the repairs that we're doing on the new buses that we purchased. And as I mentioned before, we expect our personnel expense costs to be about somewhere between 300,000, with some of that being from the Gorge to Mountain services, which weren't included in the budget. And that was based on the decision that was made at the time, because we hadn't received the grant funds, as well as the new service that ODOT, I think we're calling it Falls to Locks, or West Side West Gorge Shuttle. We're still trying to decide on a name.
Waterfall Alley.
No, that's too historic corridor.
Oh.
And we don't go on the historic corridor. So, and anyway, and then the last piece was, of course, the wage increases that we saw, that we pursued with the union in February. So those are sort of the highlights of the budget. While I do show their potential to be a negative in net income, I don't think it will be quite that large. But we'll see. The 150 would be appropriate because we did carry over 330,000 in STIF funds. So the expectation is that we would have spent 150 of that, which we have.
Hola. Dijo que iba a venir en 10 minutos.
Ay, no hay prisa, estoy.
Ay, gracias.
Hola.
Sí, ¿dónde está el baño?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Anyway, well, that was a little bit of comic relief. Anyway, so yeah, that's about all I have. Are there any questions about the supplemental? It doesn't look like we have any visitors.
Yeah.
Public. You can ask me anything. Now's your time. We got lots of time. You want to know the air conditioner? What kind of air conditioners are we putting in those buses? We don't.
No, now you're asking me questions.
I've got lots of questions.
Come on, guys, help Ty out.
They're roof mount RV style, but the driver will have full controls.
Oh, very nice. All right, there you go. See, we're doing it up well for the passengers. We just got a call from KATU. They're looking to do some stories on the gorge and the waterfall corridor. So look forward to that. I am scheduled to talk to the Women in Transportation Seminar in Portland in May to talk about the waterfall corridor and the stuff we've been doing in the gorge. So that's kind of a nice thing for me.
What about Waterfall Express?
Yeah. Except that we're going to Cascade Locks. We wanted to get the Hood River piece in it too.
I have
because-
Columbia Gorge Waterfall Super Express Shuttle Commuter Bus Service.
Yeah.
Is the title of my Excel sheet with the schedule on it. It actually is. It's very well. Nobody can pick a name, so I'm just, every time somebody adds something new, I'm just tagging it onto my list.
That's great.
I thought the roll-on Columbia shuttle, but
Oh, yeah, that's cute.
oh, I did not. Though.
We'll all roll on in.
Hmm,
Yeah.
yeah,
My
Yeah.
one day dream by Hustle. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Play on the Woody Guthrie.
yeah,
song.
yeah, exactly. You and I are. Anybody
So
else have
what about bike racks? They'll all be able to accommodate 4 or?
So we are looking into the potential, well, we definitely are going to be purchasing Lolo bike racks for all of the backs of all of the buses. So that will be like 6, is that right?
They all hold 6,
Oh,
yeah.
6, and
They
then,
all have racks on the front. Well, they'll have spots for racks on the front. The other company kept their racks. Because they had $4,000 very nice racks that were more expensive than we paid for the buses. So I decided to keep those. We kept the racks off the ones we're selling to Meadows. Sorry, Greg.
We don't need
so we have racks for all of them now, but there are only 2 racks on the front.
yeah, so we'll have a total of 7 at least, in some, on a couple of the internationals will have 8.
The internationals have 8.
Yeah.
9.
Nine.
Sorry, 'cause
9.
they
Yeah.
have
'cause
3
I
on
was
the
like,
front.
I
Oh,
have that
3
nailed
on the
down in
front,
my
yeah.
head is 9. But
Yeah,
it's-
9.
The Lolo will accommodate electric bikes too.
Lola
right?
should accommodate anything. They're
Yeah.
supposed to be 100%
Yeah, they're
universal because
amazing.
they hang by the handlebars.
They're just
Yeah.
very hard to get.
If you get,
Yeah,
yeah,
you have to
like, you have to.
It's a 2%.
Yeah, yeah. For electric bikes,
Yeah.
because they're heavy, but nonetheless, they will accommodate them, so that's good. And
You can,
which is more than Amtrak will do if you were here for my
Yes.
previous
Yeah.
conversation.
If you can train the drivers to tell the passengers to load from right to left,
Mhm.
isn't that right?
I think so.
Because it makes it easier. if you
Yeah,
go-
they're left. Yeah,
right to left?
No, I'm pretty sure it's left. I don't know, I need to look at the map.
Yeah.
Daryl is having a hard time logging in.
Oh,
He's on the phone. He says it's not letting him.
can, Amy, you want to help him? See if
Sure.
you can.
Yeah, I
Um,
know it's one way or the other, but, and then it might, if it starts booking up, if people start competing, like the Timberline, what's the Timberline fellow called?
oh, right,
was-
Express, the,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Not Hip
nutso
Express.
to me.
Yeah.
That how many people are waiting in line for bike spots.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you might have to start.
Yeah.
A bike line?
Like a little bike checkbox or booking option. That would be nuts. to
Are-
manage.
We can't do that with
Yeah.
public transit, unfortunately, but, oh, thank you. We can, encourage, well, we could probably, look for a private provider to do bike, loading.
Well, hopefully with all the service we're putting out, hopefully it's not an issue because there
Yeah.
should be plenty of service every half an hour.
That's right.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So every
You just
half an
have to wait a
hour-
half an hour.
Half an
yeah.
hour, you should have
That's
9
not a big
bikes
deal.
again.
Yeah,
Half an
yeah.
hour, 9 bikes.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
unless we have like
hours,
20,
it's like-
yeah, unless we have
Yeah.
25 bikes every hour, then.
Yes. Then we have a different problem.
Then we have a problem, but it could be a good problem,
Yeah,
so.
I know. Whenever
Well, then
that
it should be everybody
happens.
riding their bike together. You don't
Yeah.
need to get on the bus at all.
Well, if you got an e-bike, you gotta take the road.
Yeah.
Um,
Except for there's stairs on it.
Yeah,
It's so
there
weird.
are stairs. It's really very weird. Anyway. All right. So I think unless I think we could probably take the vote now, Laura, sorry the
Laura-
answer to your question was we are going to have bike racks. One of the things that we're trying to do is do a trade with Lolo racks so that they would advertise on our buses and we would get some free bike racks for the advertising. So that we're doing that with several different, that was Ty's idea. We're
Well,
doing,
realize they're basically advertising when they have the right rack on the back
Yeah.
anyway, so.
but maybe they want it, their special
Yeah.
name up front or something, who knows? But anyway, we will, there are several trade options that we're gonna try and do. We think that the idea of getting advertising on the buses will promote the fact that we are actually advertising on the buses. So yeah, there we go. So
All right.
I'm gonna shut up now. Go,
Any other questions about the supplemental budget?
I'm sure Daryl has some, but
Yeah.
he's on the phone with Amy.
Okay, is there a motion to approve it then?
I'll make the motion to approve the supplemental budget.
In a second?
I'll second it.
All right, any other discussion, comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And anyone else? Did everyone vote?
I think so. Do we
Okay.
just have 4?
All right, chair votes aye. Thank you. All right, so that is passed. And the supplemental budget meeting will now be adjourned and we'll continue to our regular monthly board of directors meeting.
You need to have asked for an adjournment, yes.
Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And chair votes
Aye.
aye. And this meeting is adjourned at 4:14 PM. And I'm calling to order our
No, the supplemental.
general meeting. We have 2 small amendments on the agenda. The executive director's report. Amy plans to provide a brief update on our final update on the CARES Act grant application. And that will be added. And also Patty has asked me to pull the minutes from the March 29th special meeting because they were not complete. She'll be making some edits and will represent these to our group for approval at the May meeting. Are there any questions about those changes? Okay, could I have a motion to approve those changes?
Motion to approve the minute changes?
No, the changes to the agenda.
Okay, I'll
Agenda.
make the motion to approve the changes to the agenda.
I second.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And chair votes aye. So we'll go ahead and make those changes. We've been joined by, oh, I guess we should do a new roll call. Go ahead, Dia.
Laura Dunn, Chair.
Here.
Letty Moretti, Vice Chair.
Here.
Daryl Roberts, Secretary.
Here.
Megan Larrabee.
Here.
Greg Pack.
Here.
Jeff Helfrich. And Megan Rainey.
Here.
And we've been joined by Kathy and Fitzpatrick and Valerie Egan. Those appear to be our only public attendees. Do either of you wish to make a comment at this time for an item that's not on the agenda? Okay, we'll move to
No.
the next.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Okay. So we have the minutes for the March 15th regular meeting in the packet. Are there any changes that board members would like to make? And okay, then is there a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from March 15th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And chair votes aye. Is Teresa here?
No, she's not. She was having internet trouble, and so she asked me to present the management report this year.
Okay, go ahead.
There's not a whole lot of changes to our budget status. We do have less in total available cash at the end of March, and that was largely we have a unique situation. When I first started, we would always start off the year by losing money, and then the tax revenue would come in and we'd gain back the money that we lost. And then we'd move forward with the grant dollars to fund. Right now, what we're doing is we're adding money through November, and then we're starting to spend down on what we've added. So you'll see a little bit of variation. We have at the end of March, we will be submitting grant applications for about $300,000 this quarter, and we expect to submit something similar in the following quarter. So we expect to end the quarter or end the year relatively on target. Probably the biggest anomalies to the budget were related to the flood that we had in the office and the repairs that were done. That was probably the largest single sort of an unexpected expense. And we're still also recovering expenditures from our insurance company for those things. So I would expect within, if not by the end of April, certainly by the end of May, that you'll see all that money back, or quite a bit of money back in our account. It was close to 40,000, is that right? $40,000, yeah. So, so that is where we are in terms of a financial statement. Does anybody have any questions? I'll do my best to handle them.
Well, I guess, the one thing I'd like to point out is that our net income has gone from 42,000 to a minus 140,000. And the insurance money will only make up part of that. I think we need to, as I said before, I think we need to understand that we're no longer operating with a surplus these numbers, they're kind of showing that, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, but I just think we need to be aware of it as we go forward and look at new expenditures.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. I will just make the comment that of that dollar amount, 150 or 150,000 of that was stiff funds that we had already obligated for service that we didn't put on the road last year. So I'm less worried about that than I might have been otherwise. But yeah, I think we should definitely see how we end up at the end of the year. Definitely will be part of the budget discussion, I'm hopeful, when we have the discussion for next year. Lauren?
I was
you're-
muted. Are there any other questions for Patty about the budget? Okay, so Patty has a few items to address under resolution and action items. You can go ahead, Patty.
Yes, so sorry, I lost my actual, too many agendas in this meeting. Sorry, let me go to the adoption of the supplemental budget. So you just reviewed the supplemental budget and received no comments from the public. So now would be the time to formally adopt the supplemental budget for this year.
Oh, so we didn't do that when we approved
need to
it? Go ahead, Daryl.
Well, so we need to make a motion to adopt the supplemental budget then, is that?
That's correct.
Okay, well, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any other discussion or questions about that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Anybody opposed?
Sorry. Anybody opposed?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. So the next item up for consideration is we had a local political campaign. CAT currently has an advertising policy that allows for 12 months and 6-month advertising lease on the buses. We had a local political campaign ask us about the possibility of placing an ad for 3 months lease period for 2,500. In the past, the decision was made to limit the lease period to 6 months as a way to reduce the number of times ad removal was required. However, a 3-month option may increase the interest in advertising on our vehicles. So the action the board would need to approve the 3-month lease period and rate for staff to move forward with the request. Or the options the board has is vote in support of the 3-month advertising option or opt to leave the policy as it is. CAT staff has no specific recommendations either way to the board.
I mean, are we short advertisers right now?
We are. We have that COVID put a damper on our advertising. We do have one on the bus, thanks to Amy through Tofurkey. They've been doing and we are pursuing, the board, if you will remember, pursued a policy to allow for nonprofits to get a break on the advertising, and particularly if we had no advertising to go ahead and do it for the cost. We are in the process of reaching out both to do trades, as I talked about, as well as let some of the nonprofits in the area know that that possibility is available to them. But this in particular would be a paid option.
This is Letty. I have a question about policy or policies around political campaigns as a nonprofit organization? Are we
So
allowed?
we are allowed to, I should be specific about that. The courts have found that if you are advertising on a bus, that First Amendment rights do apply. We can put some restrictions on what is allowed on the bus. So if it is something that is directly controversial to our to the policies or procedures, like we had an Evoke Winery placed an ad on our bus. We required in the design that no alcohol be shown on the bus, so there was just a tagline in the Evoke Winery. The same would be true if somebody, a cannabis organization, were to do something. Political advertising, I think what we would want to, what we could restrict is offensive language or something that might be offensive to a particular group of folks. I think what we couldn't do is say no altogether. So we probably would limit to saying something like vote yes on, vote no on, and also would want to have it clearly stated that this is a paid advertisement and is not endorsed by a CAT. So
We need to think about a ballot proposition.
yeah. So I think it's if you want to continue with advertising, it's something that you're likely to come into where people are going to come to you with things that.
Patty, do we need to make a policy that states that disavows CAT as endorsing the?
No, we would just simply have that be part of our design guidelines.
Okay.
So I think I think the issue is campaigns and political things are likely to only not want to have a, not want to let Paul in, are not likely to have a, want to do a 6-month or a 12-month ad. So that's the request for 3 months.
Right.
And I think if you want to discourage that, then you might want to vote against it. On the other hand, there are some advantages to having 3-month ads. It's something maybe more affordable for local businesses and whatnot to do something 3 months at a time.
With our offering to nonprofits, we were going to offer that at cost only if there was a space available.
That's correct. And we were going to leave at least one
Right.
space available on the buses.
Oh, we were going to leave it. Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess
3 months doesn't bother me.
I think a 3-month. Well, I don't know how much does how much of an inconvenience do you think it is to have a 3-month spot and have to change out ads?
Well,
Is it worth
we
the-
haven't had. Amy looked like she was going to say something, so I'm going to shut up.
Well, I would just say it's a pretty good return or profit of what we spend to put a ad on the bus for what we would get. So
Okay.
I think the main issue is just having the design ahead of time and working with the person who does the wrap and who would actually install it, making sure that we can get it in on time, and it's just scheduling it to be removed. The main issue is just getting the design finalized in the specific format, and everything else is fairly simple.
Yeah, to date, it hasn't been an issue because we started this right pre-COVID, and so the whole advertising thing didn't really take off. But it is something that the board could revisit if we had to consistently take buses out of service to get the stickers off or something.
And it's, I mean, we have a little bit of flexibility with that. I mean, if we need to leave it on, for a bit in order to make sure that the vehicles are available. It's just, we wouldn't necessarily be being paid for that extra time. But we could probably schedule it where it wouldn't actually inhibit operations.
I kind of say, well, my vote is yes. I think we should explore how 3 months go since we don't know, because even other seasonal things like if someone wants to promote like the fair or I don't know, like kiteboard for cancer, so something, but you just don't want 6 months. You know what I mean? It's a little bit cost prohibitive. I think that could be like seasonal things.
I think the only time where
I had a little trouble hearing Megan.
Oh, I think Megan's point, is it all right, or do you want to? Okay, I think Megan's point was that it might help to facilitate other local events or other people with seasonal needs for advertising, like the county fair or kiteboards for cancer, or
Event, yeah.
yeah. What if so? Would allow for folks to do that. It isn't as cost prohibitive as a 6 month and isn't required. So I think that was her point. And that she would support it.
I have no issue with 3 months.
Yeah, I don't either.
Staff doesn't mind.
If we're not selling the advertising, we got to change something.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a motion to approve
Okay.
that?
Make a motion to approve the new 3 months.
There's there a second?
A second.
Any other discussion or?
I guess I just one thing that once we do get a long list of people who want to advertise on the bus, maybe we could talk about prioritizing local Hood River businesses before we're, potentially getting involved in like national campaigns.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, chair votes aye.
I thought of a Nestle bottled water. Ballot proposition.
So the next board consent item is signature authority for Amy. Amy will talk a little bit about the transition that we're planning, but we'd like to move ahead so that she has signature authority on a variety of different things and take my name off of things. So we're asking the board to approve that. We need to do that particularly for the bank. The other things we can do,
SAM.gov
SAM.gov and
and
the
Optus.
Optus, but the bank is the one that we actually need formal board approval on.
I'll make a motion to approve the signature authority.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, and any concerns? Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Any
Laura,
opposed?
if it's okay with you, I'll put your signature on this letter to the bank.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. All right. And I think we're out of the consent agenda now.
Okay, great. That means operations manager, that's Ty, go ahead.
Okay. So March was our last month of operating the Georgetown Mountain Express. Our safety score went down just a little bit. That was largely in part to taking those boxes out of those vehicles again. So we have 8 harsh events. It's not marked on here, but there was only 2 of those being real events. Our drive time increased a little bit. Percentage over speed limit increased a little bit. Miles driven is way up. Our on-time performance is right on par for most of the stuff. The Dial-A-Ride on-time performance for 5 minutes is way down. I haven't actually had a chance to look into that to see exactly why that is. But we haven't had a bunch of rider complaints or anything. Fuel usage. Diesel usage is way up. Our gas usage is way down as we're running more diesel vehicles now. The cost is way up. We had 2 vehicle repairs, both on our smaller Gilligs that we had. So anything include vehicle repairs, something over like $1,000 of one major repair on it. So we had 2 of those.
Hey, Ty?
Yeah.
Is that just a coincidence that the cost is the same for February and March, or is that a miss?
It got sent out before that was fully updated. So the actual fuel cost for March is $21,754.
Oh, okay. Sorry, maybe I'm looking at an old agenda.
No, I realized that actually just as the meeting started, I pulled up the one that got sent out, and it got sent out before I updated it.
Okay.
So yeah, the fuel usage for gas is just under 2,000 gallons. The fuel usage for diesel is 3,200 gallons, and our fuel cost is $21,000. And our driver of the month is Rob.
Yay, Rob.
Yay.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. And yeah, just the ridership on the George Express has been great.
Yeah, so ridership is really starting to increase. Even the last couple trips to Portland, there's been 10 or 12 people
That's
standing out here
amazing,
waiting
yeah.
to get on.
Awesome.
Sunday when my son took it, there were about 8 people that got on with him, and then he said that there were people that got on in Cascade Locks, and then 8 people got on in Multnomah Falls. So it was pretty close to a full bus by the time they were headed to Portland. So that was pretty exciting.
Dennis said it was the first time that he's had one of the new buses completely full.
Mhm.
And Rob said the same thing, that coming from Gateway to Multnomah Falls, he's like, if there's like 30, 40 people that loaded up, he's like, at a couple that like ran up right as I was about to depart. He's like, can we fit? He's like, he doesn't get on, but you can't sit together.
Wow.
So yeah, we've got a couple actually full buses already.
Yeah,
And it's still snowing in town.
yeah, my chiropractor yesterday was so excited about her. She bought the Columbia Gorge Express, or the Gorge Pass. And she said she's telling everybody about it. She's just so excited. So I think it's just like everything of like crossing the chasm.
Yeah,
from,
took
like,
a little bit to
the
pick it out.
early adopters to the mass.
Yeah.
Like, and we're right at that crossing the chasm point.
I've been getting, we've been using the local stereo shop and
Oh yeah,
some
I
local
see them
vendors for
there. I
stuff.
was
Yeah,
gonna
so
ask you about that.
he even called me the other day. He's like, my dad needs to get to the airport. How do I do it? Walk him through the full thing. It's perfect. Bought the Gorge Pass and drop him off in the morning. Do you guys want me to go through ridership line by line, or the ridership should be correct? There's no updates to that one.
Okay, well, why don't you just, unless you have specific questions on the ridership, it should be in your packet. Otherwise, we'll move on to the Dog Mountain.
And hopefully
updates.
we rectified the Excel sheet lining up and sending out correctly. Everyone got the correct
Yeah.
Which
thing.
one?
Yeah.
Oh, last month it like cut off. It wasn't
Oh.
exporting correctly.
Okay.
I think we
Oh,
rectified.
yeah, okay.
Yes. Okay, perfect.
Okay. Dog Mountain,
Dog Mountain?
we're gonna give service updates.
Yes.
Dog Mountain. Come forward.
So Dog Mountain is starting on Saturday. We are providing the Dog Mountain shuttle for Skamania County. They're paying for, what is Skamania County paying for? 50% of it?
Yeah,
the
and
Forest
then
Service is
Forest
paying for the other 50% of it. So we're running 2 vehicles a day. It's 30-minute service from the trailhead to the parking lot, which is the fairgrounds. Our potential issue is there's some construction in the fairgrounds. We're going to run it this first weekend, see if we have any issues with that. Our drivers that we have driving it are all drivers that drove it last year, so we're hoping it's going to be a super smooth service launch. Our CG Inner service, we have pushed the service start date back until Monday due to some driver shortages, we have a couple drivers who are out sick, some drivers on vacation, and just to make everybody's, well, Amy's life this weekend easier, we are pushing that service launch until Monday. That is, on Monday, our service will be an hour-and-a-half service or every hour and a half from Hood River. There'll be a vehicle leaving to Portland from 5:30 in the morning till 5:30 in the afternoon.
Wow.
And they'll leave on the hour, so it'll be 5:30, 7,
8:30.
et
So it's a
cetera.
nice schedule all day long and
Yeah.
not 11:10 or a random
Yeah,
weird time.
and not vice versa though?
Same thing.
Yeah,
vice versa.
Portland.
same thing,
Okay,
Portland.
cool.
The
Just-
Portland will not be on the
Yeah,
exact time, so I think it's like 6:40 and
Yeah, I think it's 20s and 40s.
wonderful. And then what is the connection between, I know that I should know this, but between Cascade Locks and the Dog Mountain Shuttle?
like the Dog Mountain Shuttle leaves here.
Mhm.
It stops in Cascade Locks. so
Oh,
you
the
can-
Dog Mountain Shuttle leaves here.
It leaves from here, yeah.
Oh,
And
So
not every trip.
Not every trip,
Okay.
but it leaves here in the morning,
okay,
stops in Cascade Locks, crosses the bridge, goes back and forth. And then at lunchtime, they each come once over again to Cascade Locks.
okay,
So you can pick it up directly in Cascade Locks.
okay.
Um,
And it's just stopping at the fairgrounds to pick up
It's, so
extra.
it's not in the fairgrounds is its main stop. We
Mhm.
only go to Cascade Locks twice.
Okay,
So it's the first one in the morning.
Okay.
Well, sorry, there's two vehicles. Each one goes twice. So it leaves here in the morning, stops at Cascade Locks, and then each one comes across at lunch. And then at the end of the day, you can get back.
And
Cool.
and they're aligned with the Columbia Gorge Express at Cascade Locks as well. So if you coming from Portland, you can
Yeah.
take the bus from
oh,
Portland.
yeah,
I think there's a 15-minute layover. So you can
Sure.
ride the first Columbia Gorge Express in, have a 15-minute layover.
Yeah.
Take that. So you can come all the way from Portland, hike Dog Mountain, and get back home.
yeah, wonderful,
Would be a long day, but you can do it.
yeah.
Go ahead.
How long will it run?
Through the, what is it,
12th,
12th? Yeah.
12th of June, that weekend, the last weekend.
Okay.
And it's just running weekends, so
And one Monday.
and one Monday, right, so the Memorial Day Monday.
Okay.
And what's the stick at the Dog Mountain parking lot? What's the? no,
Milepost.
No, the, sorry, I mean like the carrot and the stick. What's the,
Oh, you can't hike the Dog Mountain unless you take the bus there or buy a pass. ahead of
okay.
time.
A
yeah,
permit,
Yeah,
yeah.
cool.
So you have to have a
Sells
permit.
out within
Awesome.
about like 2 minutes.
They're probably sold out already.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, you have to take the shuttle to get there, and it's a free shuttle.
Yeah.
service.
Perfect.
I-84 Multnomah Falls Cascade Locks shuttle. We are 75% of the way with our schedule, everything drivers on that. We are working with the Bonneville Fish Hatchery, and the dam has proven to be our not necessarily sticking point. They are wanting to work with us, but it's on the Marine Corps land, and there's like 7 different people we have to work with. So that is our issue at the moment, is getting approval to go in and unload passengers there.
Oh, so that's the decision is Bonneville?
Yes.
Okay,
So
cool.
we are going all the way to Cascade Locks, turning around at the end of Wanapa, coming back through Cascade Locks and then heading back to.
Yeah.
So we will hit,
So it'd be Gateway.
Yeah.
Multnomah Falls, Bonneville Fish Hatchery.
Yeah.
Cascade Locks, turn around to Cascade Locks and do the same thing the other
Well,
way.
Bonneville would be great because Waklala is such a huge, that's a great like waterfall to
Yeah.
hike.
We don't know whether we're gonna actually be able to serve that or
No,
not.
but people can walk.
So that's
Right.
one of the things
There are
that,
some concerns.
that Bonneville doesn't want.
Oh.
Is if they don't allow people to walk in and out.
You can bike in and out.
Yeah. One of their concerns right now that they've raised is
Huh.
people walking around inside of the area.
I think mostly because there's no.
There's no sidewalks on that main entryway.
and it's small.
There is, but they have a gate over it and their bushes are 200% overgrown
I
and,
mean, neither is Cascade Locks.
yeah.
Like, you know, when you have to walk under the thing and it's like, there's all those signs everywhere that say,
Well, neither is Hood River.
yeah,
There's no sidewalk on Oak Street.
people are gonna be doing that.
Yes,
So we're still working that one
Yeah,
out.
Sorry,
Yeah, no. it's
but yes,
fine.
that is
it's a great stop though.
the sticking point right now is getting approval from them on that stuff. Once we have approval from them, then we're pretty set on the service and we're just looking for our layover location in Cascade Locks. Which if it has to be Portland, then it has to be Portland. Trolley, we were looking to purchase a trolley. We had looked at, we got approval to spend 50, 75, whatever it was, thousand to buy one. We scoured everywhere. We found a couple of options. Nobody liked any of them very much. So we're now looking at leasing one from the company that we've put in a $1 million grant to buy an electric one from the same
Oh.
company.
Awesome.
So the lease, unfortunately, is not for an electric one. It's just for a gas trolley, but it would be the newest vehicle adding to our fleet instead of the oldest vehicle adding to our fleet, since our biggest issue right now is having working vehicles.
The original was to buy something. on
The
East
original
Coast
was-
and, like,
And it's a
Yeah.
substantially reduced, we typically have spent somewhere between $5,000 and $6,000 per month to lease vehicles. This one is $2,500.
Mm.
So it is consistent with what it would have cost us to purchase a vehicle to have for 2 years. So we think it's a better deal. That was sort of the internal decision. And we'd like to move forward with that if the board will.
We think it's a better deal and the drivers will be supportive of it. The last couple of years, the issue has been nobody wants to drive the trolley because it's a 1990 blah, blah, blah. And now it's the newest thing. And it's everybody's going to want to drive it. So last couple of years, the riders have loved the trolley, but the drivers hate the trolley. We're hoping now the riders and the drivers will love the trolley.
There's still gonna be a bell with this one, right?
There is still a bell.
And it's a very slick looking trolley. It looks
Yeah.
very nice. It's the same style. It doesn't look like a bus. It looks like a
Oh,
trolley.
and we can run it year round also.
Oh.
Because it is open
Or when
and
it's
closed.
Yeah,
Or super hot.
yeah.
Which in the past
Wait,
we
just to
haven't.
clarify, did you say that it's electric, the trolley that we're
The one that we're ordering is electric.
Okay,
The one that we're leasing is not electric,
okay.
unfortunately. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 8 electric vehicles on order.
Well, we have grants out for 8 electric vehicles.
Okay,
on
sorry. I
the-
guess we've actually officially ordered
Yeah,
2, 3,
3,
3,
Hmm.
4.
4.
I just did the second electric.
That's right.
So we've ordered 4 and we have 4 more to order.
Yeah.
So you need a,
We just.
No, this is just an update. Yeah.
I mean, unless somebody has an issue with it, we feel like you approved 75,000 and we'll move forward with
That's
that.
how you're gonna use it. Okay.
Yeah, it will, after a 2-year, it'll cost us about $51,000, which is what it probably would have cost us a little bit more to buy the
It would have cost that much to get that trolley here. and
yeah.
yeah.
Even
Yeah.
before we started anything
I
with
was
it.
thanking about how to structure my summer vacation so I could drive it back. I wasn't really excited because I love driving like crazy.
All right. Okay, I think we're done with operations if, Madam Chair.
Okay, all right, so that takes us to the executive director's report. Patty and Amy will be addressing that.
Okay, I'm just going to give a brief update on the transit master plan, where we are. And then we have invited Paul Cook, who you have a summary of his report in your packet, and he's going to provide a brief overview about that. We are still in the process of gathering survey responses. I'm sorry, I thought I had downloaded the summary version, obviously not. So you got this huge packet of things, but now you can see all the survey responses. And basically we've gotten about 300 responses. We're trying to get 2,000, so there'll be a big push this month to get higher rates. We have about pretty well split, yes, no. If they currently use slightly higher of no, they don't use transit. We have about 67% that are local Hood River County residents. The others are outside of the county. And then I'm not going to go through each and every one. If you want to take a look, you have it. You have that in your packet, and there's lots of information. I think the key elements are that expanded bus service is one of the #1 priorities. Extended days and hours is the second highest. Frequency of service is the next. And then more identifiable bus stops is the fourth largest priority for folks right now. So those are, I think, the key elements right now. We feel like it's moving in the right direction. We look forward to doing some more targeted outreach and working with the Community Advisory Committee to get more people to respond. I'm going to introduce Paul Cook. As part of the TMP process, we asked Paul to do a general survey of our regional stakeholders about our role in the region, and in large part, the intent of this was to really get the board to begin thinking about what kind of a regional agency, if you want to be a real regional agency, and then what kind of regional agency you want to be. So Paul, I'm going to have you do the summary, and we'll take it from there.
Great. Thanks, Patty. And there's your survey. So the idea was to initially to introduce the CAT and the survey to 22 different target individuals and agencies within the National Scenic Area. A couple were outside of that, WSDOT and ODOT at their headquarters. But you see in the summary report that I filed with Patty the names of all the people who were involved. And then I asked the same questions of all of the participants and got a very positive response about the role of CAT. So I'm assuming that your board, probably being on top of their duties, read this and we could test them on it, right?
No doubt.
So, but you have all of that. I want to go to the recommendations, because I was, as an old timer who's been kicking around here doing city management and economic development for years in the NSA, I was really enthused by the energy that you folks have brought to transit within the National Scenic Area, and some of the partners that you need to have historically have negative attitudes. I don't know any of the better way to put it, Patty, but so what I found out is that there's extremely strong support for the Gorge Regional Transit Strategy and moving forward with that and using that for the larger bi-state transportation planning efforts and funding. That's one. Second, the regional transit strategy is the golden opportunity for CAT to step up and begin to take a leadership role in the entire gorge. And I know how people talk about, well, this is we're stuck here. Well, you're inside the National Scenic Area. By federal law and state compact, the National Scenic Area is treated differently. There is no state line. There's a river, but everything else is supposed to be working together under that federal overlay of the NSA. Now, do we all do that? No. You get the states who get real intransigent about their rules and their regulations, but that is a bunch of hooey. So one of the things that we found in this process is that there is a strong, very strong desire on the part of county and city and ports to partner with CAT and expand what we do to bring more people to the gorge. You're probably all aware of the fact that there's a huge new effort mounted by the Oregon Tourism Board with some other partners that Friends of the Gorge is involved in to bring even more people here. So you folks are being looked at, my opinion, by the people that I talk to as the people who know how to do transit and the folks who ought to be taking the lead. The third recommendation is you need to accept the idea that implementation of the long-range vision will be difficult. So I'd like to tell you it's going to be easy, but it isn't. For some unknown reason, some people hold on to their territory like it is really theirs, and it isn't. But I think using the NSA and the experience that you've had by contracting with other folks has laid the groundwork for some pretty exciting things in the gorge. And my last recommendation is that both governor's offices and the congressional delegation from both states need to be, if not fully involved, which I know some of their staff members would like to be, they need to be kept informed. And I can tell you from my last 10 years in Cascade Locks, having a relationship where your board chairman or your staff manager can pick up the phone and directly talk to the governor can make things happen that some state agency people wouldn't like to happen. And I'll give you the example of Main Street and Cascade Locks. We just had Jess Groves, who is the chairman of the Port Commission at Cascade Locks. We got him to develop a relationship with Governor Brown. He picked up the phone one day and said, hey, our road needs to be paved. Was it in the budget? It was not. But you know what? Governor Brown made it happen. So Patty, I don't know where you want to go with this.
Well, I
was really enthused, as I've shared with you. I think the timing is right for CAT to move out and take the regional lead. And I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Yeah, I think so. We don't need the board to make any decisions right now. We do want you to start thinking about in terms of how it relates to the transit master plan that we're developing and what role you'd like transit to play in the future. We'd also, if there are questions, the report raises some issues for that the board may want to pursue further, and certainly Paul has the ear of all the folks that he talked to. So that's not stuff that I only know what he reported on. So
I think it's interesting the leadership role, and then the opportunity with the new, are they calling it the Bridge Authority? The new Hood River Bridge Authority is going to be a bi-state governing body that's going to be seen as very much scenic area sort of collaboration. But I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to be working with that as well, because that bridge is going to be a great opportunity for transit to go back and forth. But yeah, I don't know the background politics of all the like why it's going to be difficult. I'm assuming that's individual transit agencies that don't want to relinquish control, but
I don't know if it's so much the transit agencies. I think that there's, go ahead.
So if you go back to the very beginning, this is what old people can do for you. If you go back to the very beginning, when the National Scenic Area was born, the people who lived in the gorge were promised by their elected senators and Congress people that bill will never pass. The delegation who went back there to fight against it didn't even land in Portland when it passed. So you started off with a real negative taste in everybody's mouth. The Dalles, I happened to be the city manager in the Dalles at the time that this happened. The Dalles in Wasco County saw the economic impact that that could have and fought for the interpretive center that is there now. And when I moved and started working in Cascade Locks in 2011, they were still fighting that battle until, and if some of you will remember, there was a severe weight limitation on the Bridge of the Gods at that time. It took the Gorge Commission to hammer both governor's offices and both dots to take a 4-year, $4 million project and compress it down to 4 months and about $300,000 to take care of that weight issue, but only because we had the Gorge Commission partnering with the Port of Cascade Locks to do that. That made people in that end of the gorge begin to look at the NSA differently. But this is, and I saw some of this, and I guess, Patty, we need to say this too. Most of the people I talk to have known me for a long time. And they're not going to, I don't think they're going to lie to me. I don't think they did. I think they understand that things are different now. And we better darn well start doing more with transit and transportation than we have done. Because most people know where I come from on these issues. There were a couple that I interviewed who still hold stuff way too close. But there are some cracks in that veneer that I think CAT can open up to better serve the people. One of the things that we saw happen over time is that government agencies move away from your original purpose. Your purpose is to serve the public, not yourselves. And unfortunately, in today's society, we have too many government agencies who are more concerned about themselves than they are what they should be. So when I sat with people, and I just gave Patty the survey forms, there are people who are going to be reluctant. CAT can hold their hand and move everybody to the next level. I had county commissioners say, geez, we wish CAT was in our county. Because here, take this transportation program. They're tired, they're worn out, they don't know how to do this. You guys have set the example about how to set the vision and how to deliver it. And you have very good relationships everywhere that I went. Now, I don't know if that helps you or not, but.
Yeah. I just want to clarify. So back when the Dalles was fighting for the interpretive center, they were fighting against the Gorge Scenic Area?
No, they embraced it.
Who did?
The Wasco County and the Dalles.
Embraced
the concept of the National Scenic Area as an economic driver for the county and the city of the Dalles.
Okay, so they wanted it, but
They
Cascade
wanted
Locks didn't?
Cascade Locks did not.
Because they thought it's going to limit our economic potential.
I think there was some of that. There's also this, oh gee whiz, the federal government's going to tell us what to do. And if you study the Gorge Act, it doesn't do that. It just says there are two purposes for the National Scenic Area. One is the environmental issue, which the Friends of the Gorge takes a very good, strong role in. And the second is economic development, which we all let languish for years. We did not activate the economic development portion of that. I interviewed Kevin Gorman, who I've known for years. He's very high on CAT. He wants you guys in a leadership role. He wants to partner with you to make all of this stuff happen.
And that's, Kevin is Bridge.
No, Kevin
No,
is
he's the Friends of the Gorge.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Kevin Greenwood is with the bridge. I'm like, that's
Right,
Kevin.
yeah.
Wonderful.
And so
And-
can you be more specific who is gonna make it challenging? Like, so this guy, Friends of the Gorge, or Friends of the Gorge.
I
is
think
on our
I
team.
think where you will see some reluctance is gonna be from McKed. But they always play that role.
And I don't know what that is.
Mid-Columbia Economic Development
Oh,
District.
Okay.
It's a federally created organization whose singular purpose is to promote the economic development of this region.
That's who Kathy works for.
Well, I would think that if we provided transit to them, that would be a good thing,
Absolutely.
but they're gonna be
Yeah.
difficult to work with.
I think that they're focused, so I think and Paul, I think will say this too. I think that there is somewhat of a difference of a viewpoint when you're in the western part of the gorge and when you're in the
Yeah.
eastern part of the gorge.
Yeah.
I think the western part of the gorge is much more, is feeling the pressure of the influx of the 2.5 million people who come to visit the gorge every year. And they're seeing parking issues at trailheads. They're seeing congestion on their local roadways as well as their regional roadways. They're seeing accidents and safety issues. So that I think when you get sort of further east, it hasn't quite come that far yet. And so I think that there is a sense, maybe in the western part, that we're very, very much part of the Portland metro area, and that a lot of our needs align, and just to ensure that we have the livability, continue to maintain the livability in the western part of the gorge. Whereas in the eastern part of the gorge, they're like, our issues are about access for our folks. We don't feel like the whole issue about tourism is quite as dramatic as you guys are painting it. And I'm probably totally, I'm being particularly dramatic, but in terms of saying that, but I think, is that correct, Paul?
Yeah, I think there's some truth to that, Patty. I think the other thing is, don't take what I tell you as a negative or the wall that you won't want to go through. McKed is a very good agency. It's existed for a heck of a long time. They've got some really good staff people, very strong strengths in transit. So you're in a position where you can grab them by the hand and say, hey, let's do this together. That is the big change over the last 50 years that I've seen in the National Scenic Area. People are willing to join together, including McKed, and move forward.
Paul, I have a question for you. This is Lara speaking.
Yeah, Laura.
What do you think is the most effective or persuasive response to critics who suggest that our primary responsibility, or that our responsibility really needs to be to Hood River County taxpayers for our service?
That's really a good question, and probably one that you as a board need to sit down and talk about. But as an outsider with a lot of experience, I would say you need to focus on the needs of the people and the businesses. And if you just limited yourself to Hood River County, a lot of business and a lot of people are not going to get served. And those changes, Laura, are very difficult for some people to see. But I think you folks need to step out of the normal and gravitate to the next level to bring everybody together so that you could actually see the results. And once people can see the results, their mind is going to change. And I don't know, Patty, whether you've run across it, but there are not as many antis as there used to be.
I think that this board has believed that in order to make transit successful in the gorge, we do need, and also to enhance access for local communities, we need to bring in and focus some of our dollars on the Portland, on the visitors coming here. And in large part, that is how we have been able to bring additional resources to this community, is through things like the Columbia Gorge Express, and has also enhanced the access from this region outward. And I think the board has seen that if we were to just remain contained and not take on a regional role, we wouldn't see the kind of ridership increases that we are seeing now. And that, when I said there were folks going back to Portland, a lot of those folks are folks that live here. Ty commented on a fellow who put his dad to get out to Portland. So it's an access thing, it's a convenience thing, and it's sort of the wave of the future. There are only two ways in and out of the gorge. And we can't, it's not a place where you can widen it and allow more access, so.
Well, and I don't think you can get away from the fact. The fact is that 80-mile corridor is tied together environmentally and economically. You're not going to survive as well off in Hood River County economically by yourself as you would as a part of the whole. And this is where I think transit fits. We're either going to get 80 bazillion people in cars coming in here, or we're going to do a better job of working together to provide parking lots and transit and different ways of people getting around. And that's what I think you're on the verge of.
Yeah, this is a good, this is a really good week to have this conversation because I don't know, I sent the article to you this morning, the 12 steps to reduce car dependency in cities. And this paragraph is just so good. Well, it says like the number 4 most effective way, that's like the carrot only, because the top 3 are sticks. It's congestion charges, reducing parking in cities, and I forget the third one, but the 4th one is transit. And it says that one program was found to have achieved a 37% reduction in the share of commuters traveling into the city center by car. And I think like a really nice, robust regional transit strategy and or service helps with that. But my favorite paragraph in this is regarding, does everybody know what the IPCC report is? Yep. Came out, like the final version came out 2 weeks ago, I think. And it essentially says, and all of us like climate activists were laughing about it because it's so just like, we've seen this coming, but essentially says the planet will be uninhabitable for human life form by 2040 unless we take drastic action. And we're just like, can we hammer this into everybody's head? But it says that reducing car dependency is not just a nice idea, it is essential for the survival of people and places around the world, which is what the recent IPCC report on climate impacts makes clear. So I think this needs to happen sooner than later.
So yeah, unless there are there other questions for Paul, or do you want to have more conversation?
Thank you for doing that.
Oh, thank you.
It's nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
All right. So we are in May, we're going to be coming to you with some goals and objectives that were formed for the last transit master plan. And we'll be revising those based on your ideas and thoughts on where the agencies should go. So this will be one of the things that you will want to or may not want to add in terms of our regional strategy. So that was not part of the 2017, 2017 plan. So so there may be some goals or objectives that you want included. All right. Laura, shall we go on to the RFP auditor report?
Yes, please.
Okay. Sorry, yeah, so I just wanted to let you know that it is time for us to renew our auditor for the next 3 years. We've been using Richard Winkle. Tia put together an RFP and sent it out to a variety of different folks to respond to. This was a follow-up to an RFP that John had put out where we received no responses and ended up in June of last year. And we went ahead and used Richard Winkle again. This year we got one response starting a little bit earlier. It's from Friends and Regan, which is a accounting firm in the Dalles. We have called the references. They seem like they know what they're doing. They have good references, and their pricing is competitive. This is 100% a board responsibility. So we did the hard work for you. You're going to have to make the decision about whether you just want to approve them at the next board meeting, or whether you'd like to have a committee or the full board do an interview with them. It really needs to be people that you feel like you can connect with and are going to get the information you need. The financial piece is a key element of the board's responsibilities.
Yeah, number 2 is looking like the option that we should do, but who would lead that charge on the board side? Would it be the budget committee or?
You could give it to the budget committee. You could put together. We would just need your direction basically from the board. If there are 3 or 4 folks that would like to sit in and interview with them.
Did Mr. Winkle want to renew?
He chose not to, and I think part of it was that I think he was aware that the board wanted to seek somebody else this year.
Okay.
So
I'm curious what Daryl thinks.
Daryl, what do you think? You got your glasses on there.
I would very much like to be involved with any interview that takes place, and I guess I would encourage that we have not necessarily the full board, but maybe 3 or 4 members of the board, if there's the interest, to sit down and interview them.
Okay, I'm happy to I'm happy to have Tia work to set that up for you all. And
Well, I'd like to hear how the rest of the board feels about it.
Oh.
I mean, do they want to be involved as a full board, or would it be satisfactory to have a smaller group interview them?
I'd be fine with a smaller group.
Yeah, smaller group.
Amy, what were you gonna say?
Is there other board members that are interested in taking part?
Well, it sounds like Megan's interested.
Well, yeah, I'm interested, but I don't know very much about it, but it would be prudent. Sorry, what was Amy gonna say?
I was just gonna say that you could have the board members who are on the budget committee be the ones to do the interview, and that is Daryl, Greg, and I believe Laura.
I would be comfortable with those 3. I just thought that the board should.
I would like to be excused from this responsibility if possible.
Well, if Greg and Daryl want a third board member in the room, I would be happy to participate.
Yeah, as long as it's not Megan, I'm fine with it.
I'm
my mic on?
serious. I just thought we should interview somebody.
Oh, that'd be
All
good.
Okay. All right, so I think we're just gonna move ahead. I think it sounds like the board would like for us to sit up and, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I don't, I recognize that people, it sounds prudent to do an interview. I don't know, I've been on another board who has done work with this accounting firm. And I only have positive things to say from that experience. I wasn't on the budget committee, but I just know that it's been a positive relationship. I don't know if that's a conflict of interest. But to me, I would really, my personal need to do an interview, only because I have had a previous positive experience.
Your need is to do an interview or not,
Not because of personal experience
Okay.
with this firm.
She sat on another board where they were the auditors for them and felt like they did a good job. Well, I think
Well,
it sounds
if
like.
Greg said that I'm interested in meeting with them, and I have worked with auditors in the past, so I have some ideas about questions I would have for them.
Great, so we'll go ahead and set that up then. We'll get on your calendars for Megan, Greg, and Daryl, and we'll set something up before the next board meeting. So should be about an hour interview. We can do it by online, so everybody doesn't have to move around too much. And one of the advantages of the pandemic. And yeah, so we'll set that up for you and we'll work with you guys to get it on your schedule. Does that sound good?
Yes, thank you.
Sure.
All right. Very good. I was trying to see that I had I've lost my second page of my, is that all we have? Sorry. Thank you. Oh, I did forget after we talked with Paul that we have two other things on the, just so you know, we expect to receive 2 RFPs for the land use consultant for the TMP. We'll have an update for you at your next board meeting, and they will begin starting some information about development in the area and how transit can more effectively sort of hone in on what's going on and become part of the larger economic development and overall development strategy in the thing. Amy's gonna host the CAC meeting with the Citizens Advisory Committee meeting on the 28th. And Amy's gonna talk about the transition.
Okay, cool. I'll transition and then also the CARES real quick.
Oh, right.
So the transition, I am back part-time. I've just been catching up and learning everything that's been happening in the past couple months, and it's been really exciting. There's been a lot of movement since I've been gone. The team's done a great job. And Patty and Ty and Tia have led the helm. And Letty is in the waiting room. And so starting Monday, I will be taking over day-to-day operations from Patty. Patty will be working from home and will be coming in for meetings periodically. And I'll be working with tapering down her hours and then eventually to part-time. She's going to be focusing mostly on imparting her knowledge to me and helping guide me. But the draft transit master plan and service alternatives, as well as the budget, which we will be presenting a proposal and draft budget message next board meeting. And we'll have the budget committee meetings after the May board meeting with And then, of course, we'll present it to approve at the June meeting. Just an update on that. And then, of course, we're going to be meeting on a regular basis for priorities and making sure that there's a nice, smooth transition in general. Any questions on that?
Yeah, this is wonderful.
Can you guys see the smile on my face?
I know, I'm just
I was
like,
gonna say, Patty, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, I'm making my vacation plans already. I was complaining to Megan about Amtrak, but yeah, I'm good. I'm excited, and I am thrilled that we have such a qualified staff to take this on, and qualified Amy and Ty to lead the helm. So that's great.
I will believe either of you are working part-time when you're not here from 7 until 7. This is Amy's part-time week, and you've been here almost 12 hours already today.
That may be true. Yes.
Patty, any complaints you have to make about Amtrak? I have plenty more to add to it.
All right, we'll have a beer and bash Amtrak, but not too hard because they are the part of the future. So you just need to move into it.
my friends woke up in the middle of the night on their long distance trip, and their folding bikes, which I have, it's almost like a $2,000 plus folding bike, had been removed overnight. And they fit, they're smaller than a suitcase.
Yeah.
And they fit in the luggage cart, and they asked them where their bikes were, and they said bikes aren't allowed. And that was just, it was a huge thing. This just happened like 5 years ago, but yeah, it's a notorious, like, the bike and train thing is hard.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, I forgot to update on the CARES.
Oh, please do, yeah.
So just letting everybody know that we are gonna be applying for some CARES Act funds. The application is due May 2nd. It's over $250,000, which is, we just wanna make sure you're aware. You will need to, we'll have to approve it if we, to actually sign the contract.
Yeah, we expect it to be about a $500,000 request. So we don't know that we'll get the whole thing, but we'll do our darndest.
I think we can probably just move on to discussion items.
Okay, are there any discussion items the board would like to address?
Well, I just want to make a, if anybody doesn't know about the open house that the city is hosting this Friday and Saturday at the Armory, I highly promote going to it and being an advocate for transit for the Heights streetscape designs. And if you can't attend, it's Friday's perfect because it's Earth Day. So it's 5 to 9 p.m. Friday night, and then 10 to 2 p.m. on Saturday, and it's at the Armory. And if you can't attend, then reach out to me and I'll send you the electronic survey so you can participate that way. But it's going to be so important.
Can you put that survey into the chat right now?
Yes. Oh, can I? Who is?
Oh, I can.
If we can send it to Tia. And
Yeah,
we can
Tia,
send it out.
we'll send it out. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, great.
Yeah, now you're responsible for it.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to be out of town, so I won't be able to come.
It's also just for those of you that love it, the community cleanup at White Salmon is happening this weekend as well. So if you have treasures that you need or want, there's always some great finds over there. And if you need to get rid of, I don't know if I don't know if you can bring your dump stuff across the bridge, but if you have something you want to add to the community pot, you certainly are welcome.
And then just one more promotion. So we are still looking for a couple of budget committee members. So if you could please share with your networks that we are looking for budget committee members, that'd be great. Just send it our way, and we will be having them fill out applications and present them at the May board meeting.
We currently only have 2. So we really need to beat the bushes. We'd
Should
like at
I-
least 4.
Should I assume that I will be on the budget committee as a board member?
I
Or
would
not?
hope so. Yes.
Because I'm going to be gone most of the second half of May and June, so that might be a problem.
Okay, we'll reach out to you. I'll reach out to you tomorrow, and we'll discuss.
Okay. Okay.
See if we can figure
Okay, is
something out.
there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
And I think Amy was going to reach out to the individual board members and have a kind of priorities discussion with you. So expect that phone call soon.
Sounds good. Welcome back, Amy.
Thank you.
It's glad to have you back.
Thank you.
You guys.
Okay, hold on, I haven't adjourned. I need all in favor of adjourning the meeting at this point.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, chair votes aye, and meeting is adjourned at 5:31. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take care.